Welcome back, guys, and let's fix that camera direction. All right. So what we want to do is go to the BP ball pound and work some stuff in here. All right. So first of all, just go to the viewport, and then we want to add a component which is called an arrow. All right. Okay. So make sure that the arrow is a child of the camera. All right, and then move it a little bit forward like this. All right, so what we want to do, we want to tell our ball, all right, we want to tell our ball, all right, so right now if the camera rotates for any reason, let me show you that. Right, if the camera rotates, the arrow will rotate with it. All right, so the arrow will always face in front of the camera. It will shoot in front of the camera because the arrow is a child of the camera. All right, so whenever we rotate our camera, the arrow will rotate with it, and we know that our camera will not rotate like this, like facing that direction. It always will face the ball. Okay, it will rotate around the ball, and the camera will come to here, and then the arrow will face that direction. All right, so what we want to tell the ball is that wherever that arrow is facing, all right, wherever that arrow is facing, when we press the forward button, go to that direction. So wherever the arrow is, think that that arrow represents your forward direction. All right, we have to think of that like this. This arrow shows the nose or the eyes of the ball. All right, so wherever that arrow is, it means that this is the forward direction of the ball, and we're gonna write the codes right now. All right, let me show you something. Click the arrow in here and then select that in the rendering, select that hidden in game. Okay, deselect that, I mean. All right, and move that arrow a little bit up. All right, and then you will understand what I mean. Move it up like that, just so we can see it, and then compile and save. All right, go to here. So you see that whenever we rotate our camera, the direction of the arrow will rotate with us. All right, so what we want to tell our ball is that wherever that arrow is facing, think of that you are facing that direction. All right, so let's hit escape and let's write the code. So first of all, make sure that, all right, make it something like this. Yeah, that would be good. Okay, so compile and save, and after that select that hidden in game again, compile and save, and then go to the event graph. And we want to change our code in here. Actually, first of all, let me comment this out and select all of it, and then hit C and tell it as if it is what should we call it? Okay, camera rotation, right? Yeah, camera rotation. All right, so we don't want to touch the camera rotation again. We are touching the input force. Let me make it a little bit bigger. All right, so when we added the force to our ball, what we said is that add the force to the forward direction. All right, so right now when we add the force, all right, when we make this vector to add the force to the ball, what we want to say, add the force to the forward direction that is calculated between you and the arrow. All right, so what we basically say, your forward direction will be the forward direction of the arrow, and then add the force. All right, so let's see how we do that. We get the arrow. All right, we just grab it in here and put it there. We get the arrow, and then get the world transform. All right, we will get the world transform of the arrow. Do you know what's the world transform of the arrow? World transform of this, think that this is the arrow. All right, world transform is this. All right, the transform, it means the location, the rotation, the scale of the arrow. All right, get that one. Okay, gets the world transform. All right, and then we've got something, all right, a little bit of helping node, which is called transform direction. So what that transform direction does, it will get a transform, all right, and it will get a direction, all right, and then make sure that the direction will be lined up with the transform in here, all right. So it makes them to face the same direction, all right. So what we want to do is out of that make vector return value, you want to grab it, all right, and then put it onto the direction, okay, and grab that transform direction output to here. All right, that's all of it. All we had to do was do this, right? Let me make it a little bit nicer. Now it looks really like a crap. All right, compile and save, and then let's get back to see if that helped at all, right? So this will be left, this will be right, this will be back, and this will be forward, right? But if I rotate like that, it will be forward, backward, left, and right. So yeah, it's working. So weird. All right. Another thing that I want to, change before we wrap up this video is that you see when I get so close, it will make a weird camera movement. Look at the sky. And when we rotate up, we can rotate like that's so abnormal. We want it to be something like this and like this, all right. We want to set a minimum and a maximum value for the rotation, all right. We don't want it to be like that. What is that? All right, okay, so go to the BP ball pound, all right. So what we want in here, all right, we're gonna touch our camera rotation a little bit. So what we want to add is that, let me make some space in here and move these values in there. All right, so what we want to add actually, all right, if you think of it like that, right, let me touch that one again, and our problem was not with the X value, all right. The X value was just moving fine, all right. I mean the Z-axis was moving fine. Our problem was just with the up and the down direction, all right. We wanted to change that one, all right. So we are just changing the Y value. Okay, so in here we've got the Y value, all right. We want to change that value and set a minimum and a maximum value for it. So what we want to do is grab that, take it out, and then write clamp, all right, clamp angle, right, clamp angle. So let me make some room again. That looks so weird. Let me make some reroute nodes on this, right? That will be better. Yeah. All right. Okay. It looks a little bit weird again, but we're just fine. All right. We're gonna make it a little bit nicer later. All right. So what clamp angle does, all right, it will get a value. Actually, let me delete that. Right? Why would we do that? Oh my god. Okay, delete that node again. Why did I do this? All right, so let's see what clamp is. All right, clamp means that, all right, we will input a value into it. All right, it has a minimum value and a maximum value. So what that does, if for example we wrote our minimum value is 3 and our maximum value is 10, all right, so what that does, if we input a value less than 3, all right, for example 1 or -12 or anything less than 3, all right, it will clamp it to 3, all right. It will think of it as that it is 3, all right, and if it is between 3 and 10, it will just go fine, all right. But if it is bigger than 10, all right, if it is larger than 10, like 11, 12, or 1 million, 1 trillion, it will think of it as 10, all right. The return value will be 10. So if it is less than 3, it will be 3. If it is greater than 10, it will say it is 10. If it is between 3 and 10, it will just return the value. So if the value is 5, it will return 5. If it is 2, it will return 3. If it is 15, it will return 10. That's it. All right. So what do we want to type in here? All right. So I did some, some tweaking, and I got to a value of -15, and 0 will be just fine. All right. And then click that return value to the Y, all right, to the pitch value, and then compile and save, and let's see. All right. Okay, so right now we cannot rotate it, above that value, and neither, below that value. So the rotation works just fine. All right. Actually, I think maybe rotation like this will be much nicer. Maybe -15 was a little bit, maybe -40, right? Let's try that. Compile and save again, and yeah, that looks a little bit better. All right. Okay, so right now we've got a working ball with, moving in all directions, and a rotation that works just fine with a minimum and a maximum value. And before we end up our video, I just want to, change our spheres, that color, all right, the material, just change it to the ground grass. That was much better. I think that looks much nicer. Right? Yeah, I think that looks much nicer than the other one. All right. So hope you guys learned a new thing today, and please, if you had any problems, or you do not understand anything, please tell me, and send a message or do something like that. And if you enjoyed the tutorial, please make sure to make a review. I'll be waiting for you in the next video. Bye bye.